Shyamala, we are on.
Awesome.
Right? Okay, good. So welcome to the session. Indeed, it is a pleasure to have you, Shyamala. It is a privilege also to talk to you to figure it out with second innings. You have also just made with 80-member team. You are running the organization and also a focal point for bringing a Drupal into the country itself. We just talk about it. It's pleasure and honor to be with you. Thanks for just joining us with us today.
Yeah, it's a pleasure, my pleasure to be with you. Like I said, I myself had IT as a second career. I'm a civil engineer by profession from IIT Madras, and I've worked for close to 3 years after I graduated in civil engineering. I took nearly a 6 to 7 year break before I got back to work, and my first job was in civil engineering. I was doing something part-time and dabbling, but I got into a full-fledged career later in IT, and I'm very thankful that I chose to not only be in IT, but being in open source. It really gave me a whole new world, and I'm very excited today that I'm going to be addressing people just like me who are trying to figure out answers, how to get started with their career.
Absolutely. So it is even more excited for us to know, as a civil engineer, by choice of your studies and moved into IT, and 15 years you are still rocking and then feeling proud about it, which itself is an inspiration for us to take it from. Thank you so much. But was it a choice? How civil engineering landed into the IT? Was it just an accident?
I think it was a combination of reasons, more like situations at that time in my family, plus a whole bunch of things. But I strongly believe that, I mean, as long as you have the passion and you're constantly seeking answers, you'll find the right path which makes sense for you. And I have no regrets in having chosen to move on with IT, and I'm actually pretty excited and proud about what we do here at Unimity.
Awesome. And if it would have been a different choice, we would have missed you. So good that we also got you now. So thanks for doing that. So that's so nice. Okay. But then when you started the IT career, I was also looking at the profile. You started in a different organization, including HCL, etc. We were just seeing the journey. But then how did you start your organization? What was the inspiration behind that?
Actually, Mettling Technologies, the earlier organization, is just an earlier avatar of Unimity Solutions. So I've been with this team for now 25 plus years.
Wow.
And the earlier avatar was the same team, but we sold it out to an organization called Deccan Chronicle, and then we moved on to building Unimity. As part of Unimity, I had an opportunity to be part of HCL and care for a short consultants for them, and hence. But it's amazing that my entire IT journey has been with a single team, and we're still together doing more wonders.
Awesome. That's awesome. Nice to hear as well. With single team, you're also enjoying the journey. So it's really nice. Good. So let's come back to the open source, what we are wanted to know from you more about that. So first of all is let's just dwell something about knowing what is Drupal and what is the other competitors and where we are in the market space. Just address that, then we will just move on to the career and how to reskill portion little later.
Great. So one of the tasks for me always is to explain what I do, and also share it to other people, both organizations as well as youngsters who are joining Drupal, explain what Drupal is. And I always start with things that we're all familiar with. Like we all access newspapers daily, either in our mobile or on the web. We're constantly looking for news in different areas. It could be music, it could be food, it could be sports. IPL is a big, and IPL and cricket is so big in India. So many of the sites we follow are very rich in content. And what Drupal does is that Drupal powers many of these content based solutions, including web applications to mobile apps. And I just want to name a few of them so that it resonates and you kind of understand what Drupal is. Like when we started with Drupal, we worked with Deccan Chronicle and all their portfolios, Deccan Chronicle, Andhra Bhumi, Asian Age, all their publishing platforms. We in fact worked with Deccan Chargers, which is sports IPL group in the first few seasons from Hyderabad. Some of the other popular sites are like NASDAQ, which is a financial services entity. We have LIC. The back end of LIC's portals are all powered by Drupal. So Drupal serves many use cases. Pretty much anything that is consumer facing and has a lot of content in it can be built out of Drupal. So
Awesome.
that's kind of what the CMS does. It helps the marketing teams to easily publish content in different devices and different modes.
So just for the audience, just tell us also the other content management services apart from Drupal where people can correlate.
So Drupal, if you see, has had a long journey. It started as a simple blog site, and today it's serving the enterprises. And if you look at competitors in this space, it's Adobe and Sitecore. They are pretty much the competitors from an enterprise level grade CMS application. Um, if you look at open source, there are always been competing tools like WordPress and Joomla, but strongly feel that Drupal's roadmap in the enterprise is much stronger than the other CMS counterparts.
Awesome. Okay. So now that we are talking about Drupal, we also would like to bring this point of time, your association with Drupal and what is driving you to talk about Drupal here today.
So before I get into my association, I just want to just elaborate on what is open source, because I think that's very important topic again for the audience. So there are two ways in which solutions are available. It could be either proprietary solutions, like if you take Salesforce or many of the Microsoft tools that we have, they're all license-based. The solutions are built by large corporations and they license it out to other organizations. What open source means is that the code is free to use. So people can just download and use it to do what they want to. And we at Unimity, what we do is that we customize Drupal for the needs of the enterprise. And the tool itself is freely available and you can just download. We only charge for the services of how we customize it, but there is no zero license cost. One aspect of earlier, open source was very popular because it was cheaper, you didn't have license costs. But increasingly, open source is getting popular for the quality that it brings to the table. Because the best of minds and best of people are joining together, and no one organization can actually have so many brilliant people that are writing code. And so the power of open source is increasingly becoming more the talent and the creativity and the edge in which the solution operates. And I think this is a trend we must be really noticing, like with IBM, and acquiring Red Hat, and Microsoft GitLabs, and all the amazing stuff that's happening in the enterprise open source space. So open source is an area where people collaborate on code. So what does this mean to the developers, right? I mean, we've understood what's open source and how the code is like developed by everybody. Just to add, what does it mean to developers? One of the biggest advantages is that whenever you adopt open source, you not only, you might take that up as part of your job in a particular organization, but it immediately gives access to a whole community of people who work on that same platform. So it's almost like you are getting into a new family. And I truly believe that, if you join Drupal, you have the entire 100,000 plus people in Drupal along with you. The entire community is now becomes available to you suddenly. The other aspect is that as developers is that because it's open source, it gives you different opportunities to showcase your skills. Um, you don't need to limit yourself to the work that you do. You can participate in camps and conferences, which allows you to demonstrate your presentation skills. You could be organizers of events, which gives you an opportunity to demonstrate leadership. So there are different opportunities in which you can showcase your skills and the way you interact online. All that together actually helps you to build like a very holistic profile for yourself. So I really encourage the women who are choosing technology to consider open source. And of course, Drupal is an option, but based on your interests, open source is definitely gives you a lot of opportunities today that you can really leverage.
Awesome. So now you logically brought into the career topic now to talk about it. So if a women would like to just join into the open source community, including the Drupal, what is the skill set they should be honed themselves to come back?
So the skill sets that they need to get into open source, or if you look at Drupal specifically, do you want me to answer for Drupal specifically, right? Because it's more pertaining
Yes,
to.
yes, yes.
So Drupal specifically, I think it's a community of different people that make Drupal happen. It could be developers, designers. You could be a trainer. You could be an editor. You could be a business analyst. You can be a QA. QA. I remember QA being one of the questions. QA.
Yeah.
So it could be any area of expertise, and you could still be part of Drupal and assisting in that particular aspect of Drupal, understanding web content management and building solutions in Drupal.
Right. So is there a programming skills they need to acquire before getting into that? If yes, what's the language or the other necessary requirement for that?
So if you're specifically looking at Drupal from a developer standpoint, I think PHP is what Drupal's backend is. And if you have like a strong understanding of object-oriented concepts and your foundation in PHP, also there's an increasing need for front-end developers, which means that if you have very strong JavaScript skills and programming logic, and you can pick up React or Angular. It's not necessary you need to know all the contemporary technologies, right? I mean, you might have done JavaScript when Angular or React didn't exist, and you want to come back. As long as you can showcase that you have good programming logical skills and you have some grounding in front-end technologies or in PHP, then you have what you need to get started with Drupal. In fact, you have some of them who've taken a break and come back after .NET or Java to choose Drupal. We give them a training on PHP because you still have a good programming background and having built applications, and that counts a lot. Drupal with good programming concepts, and if you have object-oriented approach, it should be very easy for you to pick it up.
Awesome. And you also said there is a training you provide, and also at this point of time, I also would like to share the invitation you have given to our community for training them in Chennai, the event part of it. So let's just combine this together and then first tell us about it. If a person from the development background wants to re-enter and do the Drupal and wanted to take a training, what's the typical time they need to spend, and is there any resource for them to do it apart from your training, which we are just going to talk about it?
Sure. So again, just I'm going to give a little bit of a story. It is that, see, the reason why we actually partnered with her second innings. So I think like I've been in open source and with Drupal specifically about 13 plus years, and had the opportunity to be on the Drupal board, very active member of the Drupal community, I can see that increasingly there are a large number of women in the Drupal India community itself. And we've been constantly looking at seeing how can we really extend and grow this community and make it even bigger and bring in greater gender diversity, get more women into Drupal from India. And that's when we stumbled upon her second innings. And I think it's one of our biggest reasons that we want to welcome women with tech background who really want to learn something new and actually looking for a home away from home, which means that, like, coming into a Drupal community, looking at Drupal as your new home. And as far as the learning curve comes, it's like anything else. It just depends on the person. But typically, you can, in a week's time, we can normally assess how good they are, and they'll get a sense of what Drupal is a little bit. But it takes close to about 2 months of rigorous training to actually pick up skills which are core. And once they join, some of the organizations provide this training as part of the after they are selected and onboarded. So in the current opportunity that we want to present, we want to conduct a training which is for a week long and select a few people. A couple of organizations who are participating in this camp will then offer these young women a job, and as part of their jobs, further training would then happen. But if you look at others who don't get selected or for any reason still don't want to join the organization but want to pursue an independent path to train themselves and look at other ways to learn Drupal, there are a couple of very good training sites like Drupalize.me. I'd highly recommend that if you're looking at a career in Drupal, that you must let me.
You can type here as well.
Yeah. So Drupalize Me is one of the sites which is very good at training. Drupal.org itself has very good documentation and training material, and as a newbie, you should be able to join and Getting started is something that we're constantly trying to make it easier. Being in Drupal, we have a very nice few click-throughs for people to just get started with Drupal and understand it. So if combination of going through some of these training material plus some self-learning could easily get you up to speed. Besides all this, I think if you're pursuing learning on your own, you must quickly also become part of the Slack community of Drupal. And you can start posting questions there or in Stack Overflow, and you'll see the amazing response from the Drupal community itself.
Awesome.
And
Good.
Today here we have people from different parts of India, is it? Or Bangalore and
Yes.
Chennai?
No, it's different parts of country where they are logged in.
And they can just reach out to their local Drupal chapter. There are a lot of active communities in Bangalore, Mumbai, Pune, Kolkata, Delhi, Jaipur. So Drupal communities are there all over India. And that's another way for them to get started. Look out for a meetup or, check out who else is in Drupal in your area and then catch up. Normally, people in Drupal would readily assist you.
Yeah, we were seeing that even in the community. I just joined to see how it is. It's a really awesome where people are left and right just sharing, caring, and doing everything. It's awesome to just be a part of the community.
Thank
That's
you.
nice. Right. Okay. So just to brief the audience as well, what we are just planning. So there is an event coming up in December first week in Chennai. It's an All India Drupal conference where they are just doing it. And as part of it, there is a skilling activity, a weekdays training is planned for everyone. And the second innings community is the one of the partner where we are also going to be there to bring the women back to work on the career part of it. So join us. We will share the separate communication to all of you. connect with us. And we are also looking for the logistics to make it online as well, which we will work it out and then come back, because not everybody can able to commute for 5 days and then stay, etc. becomes a challenging. So we will also work with Shyamala to figure it out. Is there an online feasibility? We can just do that. We will come back and share you on that as well. Right? Okay. Fine. Shyamala, now it is time for me to pick up the couple of questions where the team have just asked, so that you can share your insight on that part of it. Let me just do that. Just give me a second. So the first question people would like to understand is, how will they just, after a break, yeah, you just answered it is a 1 week to 2 months training will help them, and you have a different role. So can the QA person can come and take the role here? If yes, what are all the roles available?
So I think QA, there is a lot of work that's happening in automated testing. So one is the QA route. You need to understand functionality and be able to do manual testing. But the other aspect today, more and more, it's moving into automated testing, and understanding how that works and be able to write JavaScript-based tests would be an added skill. You don't need to look at Drupal specifically. QA, you can skill yourself in QA and then reach out to Drupal organizations that are looking for QA people, and then you can join them.
Sure. So people also would like to know, there's a specific question a person from USA just wanted to know is that what are the career opportunities in USA? But apart from that, if the people are from different parts wanted to work from home, how do we go about it?
Correct. So I think work from home is something that a lot of organizations in Drupal, there are some organizations specifically that are fully remote. And there are lots of organizations that do allow remote working and work from home. And you can specifically look out for such organizations and, put yourself, look for careers in such organizations. There's also, I'm just going to share a link.
Your link has to come here, Shyamala. So probably you can message me. I can also put it.
Okay, let me do that.
That over here, you can also just see that. Just push it over here. I'll just give you a message for you now.
So I put it in the host chat, right?
Yeah. Just.
So if you look at it, Drupal services, it lists all the organizations that are there. You can then filter through and see offices in India or offices in America. Like this particular link will take you to, the first link lists all organizations. The second link will list all organizations in America. And if you're looking for organizations in India, you can then apply India as a filter. That's the third link that you have. You can also look out in regular Naukri or the other job channels for remote working. There are a lot of organizations that support. When we at Unimity, we are open to taking women who want to consider work from home as an option.
Sure. So let me just Drupal.org is a site they can just go through it, and also another one is Drupal. Sure.
It doesn't need to copy paste. Huh?
Yeah, it's just it's not allowing, so I'm just retyping what you're just sharing. Yes, they just received it. So these are all the resources they can just look into that. Right. Fine. So the other question, let's just go back to the other questions what people have just asked about it is, so someone wanted to write, what are all the job opportunities in the CMS area we are talking about?
So, like I said,
Blogger or a blogging or content writing or anything.
correct. So there are organizations that are looking for content writing specialists as part of their teams, and yes, it's a very important role uh, in many organizations. So if you have a flair for good content writing, you can look for Drupal organizations that are in need of content writers and join them. And many teams also, I mean, not just give Drupal services, but also give content as part of their services. So you probably just need to watch out for an organization that's also delivering content. There could be other users of Drupal, people who use Drupal who have content teams, and you can then join those teams. I think this is something that's independent of the CMS. You don't need to necessarily look for Drupal, but you could look for other CMSs as well if you're interested in content writing.
Right, that's right. So again, so now the one typical question people will be having in mind is the people are going to come from different background, right? It's just not the developer, it's just not the tester. Somebody from IT they would have worked. It could be a support role, it could be a QA role or something. So when they come for the 5 days training part of it, what are they expected to learn or what is that they are expected to possess?
You're saying those who come from non-developer perspective?
No, not yeah, non-developer. IT, they are from IT, but they are not the pure developer. If it is a pure developer, it's a different story what we are talking about. If they are coming from IT, how are we going to plan and do the training for them?
So it will be good for us to know ahead how many people do have a programming background, because the curriculum would be totally different for people who come with a programming background, people who come with PHP, or some of them come with very strong foundation and other frameworks of PHP like Symfony, Zend, or Laravel, and then the curriculum is different, and it should start from what they already know. We strongly believe that it should start from what they already know and take them to what Drupal offers. Though there is a part of Drupal which is fully through configuration, which means that you don't need to know any programming language at all to actually set up and configure a site in Drupal. But today, increasingly, people are looking for full stack developers, which means that you need to know end to end, right from setting up your own servers, doing the setup of Drupal and configuring Drupal, writing the PHP code to make it meet the business needs, write the UI layer to make it look like what your customer wants to. So there's a single person who needs to know different set of skills. In the training program, what we can do is we can start with the configuration piece and a little bit of the infrastructure side, but it's important for them to demonstrate some programming capability for the organizations to pick them up.
Awesome. Okay, so that's the teaser for us to know about it, so that people also know the expectation and then come along with that what we can get it out of the program. And as we just said, we are also bringing the corporate to observe them as well once they finish the training. So let's just see how the initiative goes over there.
Yeah, so it can be, when I say programming background, it could be either PHP or it could be front-end technologies. But, a strong foundation in JavaScript is a big bonus too.
True. Right. Okay, good. Fair enough. So this is a good input. And the other question is, the last one I'm just seeing is that know about the opportunities we have just covered, what we have just spoken. Also, can software QA professional on a break can be part of it? So I guess they can be also be part of it for a different roles and responsibility. But I'll leave it to you to finish the sentence.
Can you say that again? Can you say that again? I just missed it.
No, there is a question. Can the software QA professional can, after a break, can come and take part of it in Drupal?
Software?
QA, quality assurance, your QA
Of
professionals.
course, you can. You can just you need to sharpen your QA skills. Like I said, automated testing is the norm today, and approach organizations that are looking for QA specialists in the Drupal space. Yes.
Right. So that's where it is. So that's all I have, and indeed, it is really pleasure to just get the detailed information because this information would be available online. Whoever wanted to know more about the Drupal, they'll come back and then hear from you, and then they will. We are also expecting our community member can take a good benefit of connecting with you in Chennai in the event, and looking forward to create a great success along with you, Sham.
Thank you so much for hosting this session. I think it's been really exciting. And so, how do I see who's online? It's the public, is it the?
Yeah, so we need to get into the Facebook for that to just do that. But all we will just hear from the people. For example, Lata have just said hi and they are just listening to that. So we will just take it forward to just do that. We will just say thank you
Thank you so
for,
much, everybody. I can't take your name, so thank you very much.
yeah, thanks a lot. And looking forward to see you in Chennai, Shyamala. Take care. Have a good day.
Yep. Talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
You're back. Bye.